Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I'm Nadine McCormick, Public Information Officer for the Annapolis Remo. Thank you for joining us today. We have Deputy Warden Dustin Enslow with us. I just want to start off by saying this is being recorded and it will be on our YouTube channel later on if you're interested. So without further ado, I'm going to let Deputy Warden Enslow take the mic.
Thank you. It's now becoming a creature of habit. All right, so the first thing again, I'm going to stay with a bit of a fire frontline update. So crews have nearly completed the dozer guards around the northern border of Long Lake, which is good. The wildfire complex they're aiming to protect all the homes from any impact of Hurricane Erin. Of course, that's one of our big concerns right now. I know it's the highest priority of Department of Natural Resources. The fire size is the same as the past 3 days. It remains the same, and we still have no reports of damage to primary dwellings, which is good to hear. Also, firefighters on scene today include 52 Department of Natural Resources, 44 local, 22 from Ontario, and 5 from PEI. Additional Ontario firefighters will arrive today. And for air support, I think it's important to try to focus on that because not everyone can see them in the air because if they're getting fuel, if they're getting water elsewhere. So today we have one helicopter, a 206. We have another Airstar, and we have 3 Bell 212s. We also have 2 groups of tankers that are in with a bird dog, which is a spotter plane. One group is the Manitoba group, as well as the second one is the 4 from Northwest Territories. On to other keynotes. So we're still continuing right now with the direction from Department of Natural Resources of no entry to the site today as well. They are busy working on hurricane prep and making sure that the site continues to move forward with being safe. We also have Nova Scotia Power and various telecommunication people that are still out there that are working on inspecting everything to make sure that there's been no damage. We are still asking people if they can reach out if they haven't registered. As of right now, because I know the question is going to come, we have 83 households that have registered and 154 residents that have registered so far. We have changed some of the information for the recreation center at NSCC. The timings is actually changed back to a 24-hour basis, but I'm sure we'll have questions around that. But for any more information, I direct you to the recent press release that was submitted by Nadine just a short time ago. We also want to refocus on Hurricane Erin. Thankfully, it is currently moving northeast of us offshore. So it looks like it is tracking further away from us and further away from Sable Island, which at this point looks like a good sign because usually if we're on the northern part of it or the top of it, we get lots of wind. So we're hoping that the direction that's going, that we're just going to get minimal wind. So fingers crossed on that, but hurricanes are just as unpredictable as wildfires at this point. We are still working hard with the Red Cross and Salvation Army to support our evacuees. So for the Red Cross, they are the ones that are managing the evacuation shelter in NSCC with the support of the Salvation Army. And also with the Salvation Army, they are continuing to manage all of the donations on our behalf. And I know that in the recent days, they've seen a bit of an uptick on some of that. And I know from a conversation yesterday with a few members from the Salvation Army that they're staying in high spirits and they're hoping that they can continue to help because with the Salvation Army, almost all their volunteers are from our community. So it's local people helping local people. And we're still seeing people donating. We want to encourage people that if you do want to donate stuff to the evacuees to support them, that is the best way to do it. And they're looking for various things of different gift cards and socks and different things. I know that they asked that. I know people are thinking about the kids that are going back to school in the next couple weeks, that they're trying to ask people not to donate book bags and different things like that. If you could just donate Walmart gift certificates, that way, when the time comes for people to go back to their dwellings, that they're not taking a whole bunch of stuff back with them. Because we have to remember that when these people were evacuated, they literally had most of them the clothes on their back, and they would have packed their car. So space is limited. So it's important to continue the donations as we move forward. And that's all I have for the update.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. So moving forward, we'll follow the practice we've been doing the last few days. We have one question, one follow-up. We do have a hard stop at 3:30 because we have other commitments that Deputy Warden has to attend to. So we can open the floor for questions. Does anyone have one, please? Oh, and please give your name and the agency you are representing. Jason.
Jason Malloy with the Annapolis Valley Register. Hi, Dustin. Can you
Hello.
explain why the change back to 24-hour operations at the shelter?
Yeah, so as we shared multiple times, that as we move through, this is going to be an ongoing thing, and we need to adjust as the need changes as well as volunteers change. So it's been brought to our attention, and we've been monitoring that over the past bit. Things have been changing on who's accessing what and at what times. So the whole point of this for the next 2 days, for 24 hours to go back to that schedule, is to give evacuees peace of mind and access to supports during the time of uncertainty. So at the end of this 2-day period, the county will reassess the need for the 24-hour operations based on the number of evacuees using the shelter, and we'll also look at the evolving situation with the hurricane and how we're doing on site. If it's determined that the facility is not being utilized, alternative arrangements may be explored to ensure the most effective use of resources while continuing to meet the needs of the evacuees. So just like when we did a review and looked at going to the schedule of 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., that was based on the use of the people utilizing the services and to better support that. Of course, as we go through, things are changing, and we're now trying to look at re-gearing to put resources in the right place. So
I guess,
over this, oh,
I guess my question is more, what did you see that changed from going from 8 to 8? Was there a lot of people coming in after 8 o'clock that you have to change back to 24, or what precipitated the change back?
well, there's a few things that changed this. So when we first changed to 8, it was mostly because we were seeing people really only utilizing the services like laundry and different things like that. But now with the risk of Hurricane Aaron, we don't know what the next 24-hour type or the next 2 days look like. So we want to make sure that we have this site open to support any changes in support of Hurricane Aaron, as well as it also gives us a better idea because we know that as time goes on, the need changes. So it's kind of really a twofold question of we want to get a better idea of what everyone needs, and it's also to provide more support to individuals that are affected by the evacuation during the time of the hurricane.
Just one small question with regards to all that. Did you see an increase in people staying at the shelter overnight since you made the change to the 8 to 8 operations?
That's a good question. So it's actually been changing day to day. So
Okay.
we haven't been seeing a good trend. I know that there has been people utilizing overnight accommodations, Some people are finding it easier with the 8 to 8 because they can simply call a number and they can be assured of what they're going to do. And we also noticed that, some of the volunteers were enjoying the hard times, but we also are expecting an increase of use as we turn into the Hurricane Erin situation. So we worked with the Red Cross to come up with a plan to, again, re-gear what our strategy is to be there to support our residents.
Wonderful clarification. Thanks, Dustin.
Thank you. Hopefully that answered your question.
It does, absolutely.
Thank you, Jason. Angela, could you please state your name and the agency you're with, please?
Yeah, I'm Angela Capobianco. I'm with Global News here in Halifax. Yeah, I just have a question. I guess with Hurricane Erin expected to pass by us and it's supposed to bring quite significant amounts of wind this weekend, I guess what concerns does this raise for the municipality and the county?
So what it arranges for us is just another layer of uncertainty. And another layer of what can we do to better support our residents. And part of that was the changing to 24 hours for the next 2 days. Because right now it looks like the track of the hurricane is hopefully going to tend away from us and we're only going to get a slight bit of wind. And we'll find that out on Friday. So over the next 48 hours, we'll be able to see. But from our perspective, we're just worried that everyone within Nova Scotia has experienced at least one hurricane in their lifetime. And we know that it's just not consistent of what we're going to see. So at the beginning, it blows one way, at another, it blows a different way. And we're worried that with the wind that it's going to stir up more air and fuel into the fire and could cause more of a challenge for the firefighters on the ground. It would have been great if the hurricane, unfortunately, went a different way and we got a lot of rain. That would have helped to kind of offset the wind. But that is one of our big fears right now. With the wind, not only are we fearful that it might bring up more flamage, is around the work that's being done right now to protect the future for the power lines communication, that this could result in falling trees and different things like that could cause additional damage or possible damage on a situation we're already dealing with. So we're just trying to watch and not worry. We're trying to adapt and overcome and be as calm as possible.
For sure. And I guess just one follow-up question. So I know you mentioned the county's doing a lot of work for in terms of shelters and evacuation centers. I guess what else is the county doing to prepare for this storm? I know a lot of the firefighting is in the hands of DNR, but I guess what else is the county doing?
So from our perspective, we're just really ramping up what backup plans we can have in support throughout the municipality, no different than we would prepare for any type of other hurricane. So as soon as we get a warning that a hurricane's coming, our team that is already working on this fire would then be tracking that and making preparations to make sure that our comfort stations throughout the county are prepared and ready if something was to happen, if there's a power outage or anything like that. That way they're ready to support the community, as well as our public works team is ready to support any type of breakage or dispute issue with our infrastructure throughout the county. So we're still going with ops normal with that situation because we don't want our focus to only be in one area. We want to continue to be ready to support other things. So we're continuing to do what we usually do when hurricanes happen.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Deputy Warden. Any other questions? I see, Jason, you have your hand up.
It's just with regards to the shelter. I know part of the reason was to maximize the resources that you have, human resources that you have. Is that an issue going forward? Are more people from the Red Cross, more volunteers coming from elsewhere to give you the number of people that you need to operate that shelter for 24 hours?
Yeah, so my understanding is, we're really not completely involved in the operations of the Red Cross, but they are working with their group of volunteers to make sure we're ready. But at the same time, we don't want to burn out their source. So we've been very fortunate that the Nova Scotia Guard has been supporting in areas to help free up some of the volunteers that normally the Red Cross and local organizations such as Salvation Army will be tapping into. So at this point, I don't feel we have a risk of not having enough volunteers. It's just we all know volunteers where they want to give, and they think of others before they think of themselves. And we just don't want people to be burnt out. We're trying to support them the same as we're supporting our own municipal staff, to try to give them a break. If we said that our staff can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to support this, they would. But at the end of the day, they would be burnt out because we have some extremely dedicated individuals in the municipality. And the same would be said with the frontline staff. So, yeah, so I'm not really concerned about the pool of volunteers. I'm just concerned about, and more concerned about the burnout of people. And we want to make sure that they can help and support us in the long term.
Thank you.
Jason. Sheldon, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Nadine, and thanks for the question. Sheldon McLeod, MBS Radio. Deputy Warden, you had mentioned early on family and friends were the support network for most of the people who were told to move out of their homes. I've seen that repeatedly. Maybe it's the Nova Scotia Blue Noser way. Is that an opportunity perhaps to then reassess how we approach the first few days of disaster, knowing that we are going to see that type of outreach from community before, as you say, limited resources for volunteer organizations? Does it perhaps pay to wait? I'm just curious if you've thought of that.
Well, the problem with that is it is just so unknown. So yes, we were able at the beginning of this to see that we've been having neighbors look after neighbors. And we see that time and time again throughout Nova Scotia. But I don't feel that pausing the support that we supply is the answer. I do see where we could go with it. However, if we didn't have those supports in place, I could see that would be the time that we would need it. And we also have to remember that we have people that have been moving to the county and to the province that are new to the county, that are new to the province, even new to the country, that don't have that relationship with people within the municipality. So they really don't know who to reach out to stay at family and friends. So we can't take that. We can't take the fact that maybe everyone has it as an option. So we have to make sure that we provide things from the beginning. Now, this would also roll into a bit of a lessons learned that we know at the end of this event that both us, Department of Natural Resources, Department of Emergency Management, all of our stakeholders will be coming together to complete a review and debrief of what happened, similar to what they did in Shelburne County. So during that time, we look at the lessons learned and continue to improve. The fact that we worked with Shelburne and reviewed their lessons learned helped us to prepare for things. And we're definitely in a better situation. And we would hope that the next situation that happens in Nova Scotia, hopefully it is not in Annapolis County, but that they would continue with the lessons learned. So, but I do appreciate your question.
Thank you. If I can, a follow-up. I know we asked you yesterday about the extension of this localized state of emergency. DNR today said, well, they only give information, they don't advise. I'm a little bit unclear as to how you'll come to that determination. If you can just, for for the sake of the policy or perhaps the process of what's involved for the next couple of days to decide.
Perfect. Thank you. I figured that question was coming. So yes, they provide information and advice, and as in they're the ones that are on the front lines that provide the information and feed it up to us. So the information they provide to us is provided in the form of advice to be used. But from our perspective, you would see that we posted that we're having a council meeting tomorrow. And on that agenda is only one thing, is to discuss the state of emergency and the different options based on the information we've received on where we're at, what the fire is currently doing, and what is the forecast. And we'll take that information to council tomorrow and, excuse me, and review all that information, and then make a determination on what we're going to do. So we do know that these are all long-term situations that we're dealing with, but everything changes day to day. So all I can say is we're having a meeting tomorrow that has been advertised. Just like the the last time we did state of emergency, the meeting is not in camera. It is a public, well, as public as it can be for Zoom, but it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. But we'll be discussing during that about what information we get at that time, and what the forecasts are, and we will adjust accordingly. But we also, I'm glad you asked the question, because I also want to share another situation where if we are in a state of emergency or state of local emergency, and the decision is made that people can return to their homes, they are really not connected per se. We can have people that return to their homes even if we're in a local state of emergency. It just allows us to continue getting the support that we need, and it also will help the individuals that if we get in a situation that the fire does escalate back up and we have to evacuate again, that it allows us to do things quicker and in a timely manner. So I know that there'll be some anxiety that if it is extended, that means that people will not be able to go home. That is not the case. They're not truly related. One is more administrative and one is based on advice. So, well, and the situation of the fire, of course. So I just want to put that out there as well.
Thank you, Sheldon. Thank you, Deputy Warden. Jason, you have another question.
Just with the local state of emergency, does the policy spell out that it has to be a certain amount of days? Like, does it have to be another 7 days, or does it have to be, can you pick how many days you're going to, if you were going to extend it, how long you could extend it for?
So it's really around it's set for the 7-day mark, but that doesn't mean that it can be canceled prior to that 7 days. So that is really the recommendation of how the policy works. Because I don't have the policy in front of me right now memorized, I can't completely give a good answer. But just like when we released the last time, that if we was to go and issue another 7 days notice, it does not mean that we're locked in for that 7 days. So if it gets to a point where we no longer need to be, we have the option under the MGA or the Emergency Act to come back on that order and reverse it. Hopefully that answers your question in a roundabout way.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have 5 minutes left. Are there any further questions? Wow, you guys are almost identical at the same time. Sheldon?
Sorry, just a quick, again, Sheldon, MBS Radio. You were in the area, you were in the zone, you were able to check out what is happening. I'm curious what it was like seeing the only green grass in the province around those homes with those sprinklers.
Well, it was a bit of a bittersweet moment. It was nice to see. It was actually nice to see people's gardens with vegetables and fruit and things. And then I look at my garden at home and realize that, we basically lost all of our stuff. So it's a bit of a bittersweet. But it also gives a bit of hope, thinking that the professionals that are out there are doing what they need to do, and it truly shows that what they did saved people's homes. It's very evident when you're out there. It was definitely interesting. I remember making the comment to the warden, actually, as we were driving by one location, that they had red tomatoes, and I made the comment to her that my tomatoes didn't even really make it to green. So it was definitely interesting.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Must have been Jason's question too.
It was, but I've got another one if you have 2 minutes. Just the
You have
province.
three.
I'll only take two. The province has issued some photos here this afternoon, and two of them come from Morris Road, I believe it was, and they show signs at the end of people's homes, at the end of their driveway, that say thank you. What does that tell you about what the community feels for the firefighters and the staff that are out there working under these conditions?
Well, in some ways, it makes you speechless. I know that when we were driving to the site yesterday, and we saw those signs, I know that it kind of boosted me up, and I know that the warden was at a loss for words for seeing that. And we continue as we go through this together, that we are truly in this together, and we're here to support each other. And the amount of support that everyone is getting is just phenomenal. And the spirits of the people that have been evacuated, of course, we're still dealing with situations of sadness, and still, we're day 8. It's still kind of unreal that it happened, but people's spirits are in the right place. Where when I was talking to people yesterday that were evacuated, that of course they're nervous about what they're going back to, but at the same time they're super proud of what has happened and what has been done to protect their houses. I know that, excuse me, personally, this morning I had to travel to Halifax early morning to be back here for another briefing, and I would say 70% of the traffic that was heading towards Annapolis from the Bridgetown exit to, actually well past Numanis, was people that were going to support this fire. Between the different fire departments, between the heavy equipment, the EMO vehicles, the volunteers, it was just, I was at a loss for words, and I meant to mention it at my morning meeting interview, but I forgot. But it's just, it continues to amaze me how much we look after each other. And I know that we all go through heated moments, but at the end of the day, we are here to support each other. So I appreciate the fact that you brought that up at the end, because it was nice to bring this presser to a positive. I do want to thank everyone that, the media especially, that's been working hard to get our message out in a positive light. But also I want to thank the press for being respectful of the people that are evacuated. Yes, they have a story to tell, and I'm sure they'll tell that story. But the fact that the way that the media has been approaching and treating the evacuees in a professional manner, and letting them go through this stage, privately, and they appreciate that, and I appreciate that. So I know that we're working very hard, and I know we're all stakeholders together. So I felt it's very important to thank you guys as well in what you play in this. So I think I actually went over my time, so I'm probably going to get yelled at. But I appreciate your time and thank you.
Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. That is our time today. I'd like to echo Deputy Warden's words and thank you very much. We will be back tomorrow at 3 p.m., at which time we might be taking a bit of a break over the weekend. We're not sure. It obviously depends on what Aaron decides to bring us and if the situation changes. But we are definitely back tomorrow at 3 p.m. and I welcome you at that time. And I will have more of an update of when we will have our next 3 p.m. presser, either on the weekend or on Monday. Till then, thank you so much for joining us and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.